Hi, this is Brian Kim. I'm going to share with you this case of a patient who referred herself to me. She had a Vivity Toric IOL and she was been miserable with her vision. She's waited for 6+ months, found me on the internet and decided to come see me. And so what's interesting is when I did her biometry with the LensStar, it showed very little astigmatism. So I'm not sure why the surgeon put in a toric lens, but nonetheless, we did a contact lens refraction because that's the first thing to do whenever you're dealing with these unheavy patients. And with the contact lens refraction, I had her live with that for about a week, and she came back and she said her vision was still not very good. And it turns out, based upon my assessment, she's just really unhappy with the quality of her vision, not because of the refractive error per se. And so we went ahead and took this lens out, and she at this point was so just fed up. She just didn't mind wearing glasses, but I said, let's not give up. And we decided to put the Tecnis Odessey lens instead. And you're going to see me exchanging the Vivity lens for the Odessey lens. You can see this Vivity lens. You can see that central ring in the middle. You can see the toric hash marks. I make my paracentesis incision first on the right side and then the left side, making sure I'm flat to iris plane, which creates a nice corneal shelf, which will allow me to achieve a self-sealing incision. This is intracameral epinephrine, and this is the prototype IOL dissector. I'm working with Epsilon to create it. It's flat. You can see it's got a bevel. I have it mounted on some dispersive viscoelastic, injecting the dispersive viscoelastic to fill the anterior chamber. And this is a triplanar corneal incision. I make a vertical groove, place the blade into the deep part of the groove, tunnel, and then I enter. And this is a 3mm blade. I prefer to make the larger incision when I do these exchanges. So with this flat, blunt cannula, I'm able to get under the rhexis edge and then pushing that dispersive viscoelastic to separate the anterior capsule from the lens surface. And I try to approach it from different angles. First through the main incision, and then through the right paracentesis incision, and then through the left paracentesis incision, pushing viscoelastic to visco separate the capsule from the lens. Now that I have it separated, I switch to the cannula, and then I push more viscoelastic to create some more space. This is with the dispersive viscoelastic going around circumferentially. You can see there's good 360 degrees of overlap of the rhexis over the optic. And now I'm teasing the capsule off the haptic on either side. Very important to tease that capsule off the haptic because that's where the fibrosis is. You want to visco separate the anterior and posterior leaflets of the capsule. This is the Lester. I'm going to go under, grab the haptic. You can see very easily as I pull the optic-haptic junction, the haptic pops out into the anterior chamber. That's the distal one. And then through a paracentesis incision on the other side, I go ahead and do the same thing for the proximal haptic. You can see very easily it pops into the anterior chamber, grasping and hooking the optic-haptic junction. So now these are the micro scissors and micro forceps, nudging the lens up a little bit. I didn't show it here in this part, but I pushed some more cohesive viscoelastic to push that capsule back. You saw I like to cut right to the left of the haptic there. And I do it that way so that I can pull the right side piece and the haptic will collapse on itself. And that's why I strategically cut it in that location. So I'm able to grab that cut edge on the right side piece. And because of the way I cut it in the location, as I pull the lens piece out, the haptic collapses on itself. And then with the left side piece, I just rotate the lens, turning it 180 degrees, grabbing the distal cut edge rotating the lens 180 degrees, nudging the lens, rotating it, grabbing the cut edge using 2 hands, 2 forceps. As I pull the piece out, I shield the cornea to protect the endothelium with the left hand forceps. Pushing cohesive viscoelastic to fill the bag. And this is the Tecnis Odessey lens, non-toric. Goes into the capsular bag, and this is essentially a routine case at this point. Making sure both haptics are nice and loose. Rotating the lens. Going in with irrigation off, activating irrigation. You can see this is a purple sleeve because I made that larger incision. Removing all the viscoelastic from within the bag. And then I'll remove the viscoelastic from the anterior chamber. I'll make sure that the optic is centered over the macula. I'll have the patient look at the center lights, and then I'll hydrate my incision. So again, this is a patient who had a Vivity toric lens out of town. She found me online, asked for my help. I told her I've done these cases many times. Patient had an intact posterior capsule, good rexus overlap with the optic. And so I felt pretty good that I'll be able to get this lens out. I'll credit the surgeon that he did a nice cleanup. And so there wasn't significant fibrosis of the lens to the bag. I was able to use that prototype IOL dissector that I'm developing with Epsilon. Again, it's flat, it's blunt, it's not sharp, and it's got a bevel. So I was able to mount it with some viscoelastic, disperse the viscoelastic, get underneath the edge of the capsule so you don't have to use needles anymore. Now I don't ever use needles. Since I have this, I'm able to push the viscoelastic to separate the anterior capsule from the lens, but then pushing more peripherally to separate the anterior and posterior capsules from one another into the fornix, paying close attention to each of the haptics, being able to separate the haptics from the bag, and then using the Lester to pull on the optic haptic junction, prolapse the haptics into the anterior chamber. Again, cutting the lens 90% and then doing a Pac-Man technique, popping the single piece acrylic lens out through the main incision, and then injecting this Tecnis Odessey lens. This patient, again, not happy with the Vivity quality of vision. It took her some time to kind of adjust to this new Odessey lens, but after 2 or 3 weeks, she came back really ecstatic. She was seeing well, about 20/25 distance and near. Grateful, but really more actually relieved because her vision was just so bad with the Vivity lens, and she really was just anxious about this whole situation. But we went ahead and put this Odessey lens, and again, I gave her this option. She could have gone with a monofocal, but I told her, look, we'll go with this Odessey if you really want, and worst case scenario, you don't like it, I can take it out. It's not a big deal. As we saw in this case, fairly routine removal of this in-the-bag Vivity lens and placement with an in-the-bag Tecnis Odessey lens. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I thank you for your attention.